right. Speak. Belong. This is Amity.
Hello dear listeners, I am Ayush Yadav, Mr. Fresh at Amity Institute of Social Science and Mr. Confident, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Your host for this special happiness podcast hosted by Amity University Reiki Foundation Center for Science of Happiness, Amity University Noida, headed by Professor Nitin Arora sir. And yes, you are listening to us on Radio Amity 107.8 FM. At Amity, our Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan sir has always emphasized student well-being, happiness, belongingness and holistic success. And yes, you are listening to us on Radio Amity 107.8 FM. At Amity, our Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan sir has always emphasized student well-being, happiness, belongingness and holistic success. This podcast is a small effort to carry forward his vision to bring stories, wisdoms and human connections to every listener, and today's episode is a very special one. Today we are truly honored to welcome an AI artificial scientist and an aspiring human being, Professor M.K. Dutta, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University Noida and Director of the Center for Artificial Intelligence. Today we are truly honored to welcome an artificial intelligence scientist and an inspiring human being, Professor Dr. M.K. Dutta, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University Noida and Director of the Center for Artificial Intelligence. Welcome, sir, to podcast Happy Pens of Amity. Sir, before moving forward, I would like to give a brief of yours to our listeners, sir. With a career spanning Amity University, AKTU Lucknow and international collaborations including the Brno University of Technology in Europe, Professor Dutta has led groundbreaking research in artificial intelligence, deep learning and computer vision. His impactful projects range from AI-based cardiac care, vision assistance for the visual impaired, early diagnosis in women's health, to pandemic-ready diagnostic system, all aimed at improving lives. What truly sets him apart is his belief that science must serve humanity. As a teacher and leader, he encourages students to not just become skilled technologists, but tuned human beings who innovate with empathy. His journey, driven by wonder, compassion, and a vision of peaceful world where AI becomes a partner in human well-being. It's our honor to have you today, sir. With this, let's start our today's podcast. So, what is happiness for you?
For me, depends on what position you are, where you are. But overall, happiness for me is freedom. When I'm free, my mind is free of thoughts and I'm not being pressurized by something which I'm unwilling to do and I'm following my heart. That's happiness for me.
Beautifully said, sir. And I guess our new generation will also connect with that because all we crave is freedom. So moving forward, sir, since you are an AI scientist, what is AI in layman's term?
See, artificial intelligence itself is a misnomer. Let me clarify, anything which is artificial cannot be intelligent. Okay, so I always start, saying this. So intelligence actually lives with human beings only. But of course, this terminology AI has become so popular. For me to explain, very layman language, artificial intelligence is a technology that has come up which can actually mimic the human activities. For example, human vision, human auditory system, the human nervous system, the human brain, and take decisions accordingly. So artificial intelligence, in very simple words, is a model, is a methodology, is a technology where, the machine tries to learn and mimic the human system.
So, sir, we should not have a fear of artificial intelligence.
No, artificial intelligence is not going to do any harm for you. It's a friend. It's actually not a competitor. If you ask me, artificial intelligence is not, competing with human being. Rather, it's complementing. Human beings and AI-driven models are complementing each other. So that's how I look into it. There's no reason to be scared of any AI models.
Incredible insight on AI, sir. Sir, you have spoke about how science integrated your passion during school days. What emotion still keeps that fire alive today?
This is something very interesting, actually. If you talk about science for the young listeners, I'll tell you, in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, science had seen a setback. Newtonian mechanics was challenged, and the science had actually been questioned. Now, please understand, if the Newtonian mechanics are questioned, the entire science has to be rewritten. Okay, there was a problem, the specific heat problem, the Rutherford's model was a problem, and so many problems happened. And there was an emergence of a man, and he's my hero. His name is Max Planck. There's a guy called Max Planck who started a new mechanics called as quantum mechanics. And today, once again, there is a quantum resurgence coming up in the recent times. Many of you have heard about it. Now, Max Planck comes into the picture, and he almost solves everything. Okay. And I read about Max Planck when I was in my high school, and my science teacher told me about Max Planck. I read more about him, and then later I found out that Max Planck's theory was used by great scientists like Niels Bohr, Schrödinger, then Heisenberg, even Einstein, who got a Nobel Prize, used Max Planck's constant. So this history, when I read about the evolution of science and how it actually solved so many problems, that was a day, I really fell into love with science. And even today, if you ask me, my first love is science. And, the most of the credit goes to Max Planck, because for me, it was Max Planck and the love for science. And even today, if you ask me, anything related to science, anything related to scientific temper excites me the most.
So for you, science is the happiness, sir?
Yeah, it's a purpose.
It's a purpose.
It's a purpose.
Okay.
It's not happiness. It's a purpose. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Moving ahead, in leadership roles, how do you stay grounded and joyful while having so many responsibilities?
See, there is a child inside everybody. And of course, there is a child inside me, and he always wants to play. He doesn't listen to anyone. And for some reason, I don't know, the child still lives in. And that is one reason I feel that the energy, the motivation, the long hours to put together, driven by a purpose, sometimes the body and the mind takes a toll. But later, last maybe few years, I realized the journey of life is so beautiful. The journey of life is so wonderful that let us live every moment. Every moment spent is precious. Every day we go to sleep, and the day we have completed and we are sleeping, it's a miracle. It's not something ordinary. And we sleep with the hope that we are going to get up tomorrow morning, and we get up tomorrow morning, next day morning, and that's a bigger miracle. So when I combine all these things in my life, and I see that life itself is a blessing, and there's no reason to have any complaint. In Hindi, there's a beautiful shairi in Hindi, a long one, but I'll pick the right lines. It says कि शिकायत तो तुझसे बहुत है जिंदगी, पर चुप इसलिए हूँ कि जो तूने दिया वो बहुतों को नसीब नहीं होता. So somewhere we are all blessed. Somewhere we are blessed with so many things, and last 5-6 years, maybe more, maybe 10 years or so, I feel that every moment of life is to be enjoyed, we should be happy. That's how I am. And of course, I said, the child inside me is very dominant. He always wants to play. So I'm joyful that way.
Beautifully said, sir. And the shairi that will definitely touch the hearts of the people. And in today's world, our new generation have a lot of conflict inside. So I would like to ask that how can we keep the child inside us alive?
Yes, this is something interesting. I meet many young, because I have been dealing with youngsters as a professor of a university for last 20 years. My job is dealing with young fellows, young people, brilliant people. I'm not sure why the generations that have come up, they are very brilliant. The young generations, I feel they are brilliant. The IQs are super high. They know, there is no reason for me to not admit that they are extremely brilliant than people like me and my generation people. But the concern is somewhere here, so the concern is somewhere else. what I see the, what I see is the young generations are too much, logical. They are too much. I mean, I don't know the right word. They are too much oriented in
Practical.
Yeah, they're too much into it, and as a reason, sometimes I feel they're not able to handle failures. My suggestion, my advice to young students are, failures are natural. Success is a miracle. Every day you get up to fail. Someday you get success. If you ask me, and that is where I sometimes get concerned that how the young generations are becoming so much mature, and they're not living their childhood. And to me, the advice to them is that be happy. Don't overthink. I think the young generations overthink a lot. They do a lot of calculations. At our times, we were happy. We play and we come back, and we did not do so much of over calculations. But my message to the younger generation is that take every day at a time, take every hour at a time, and enjoy that. God has given you ample opportunities. You have taken birth, and you are living in an era where the possibilities and the opportunities galore at you is maximum. You are living in the age of opportunities. My advice to the young fellows are that live it, and opportunities are galoring at you, and you have got extraordinary opportunities to make it big. Be happy, be cheerful, be joyful. I mean, I don't say that you lose your purpose. Be very much attached to your purpose, to your dreams, to your commitment towards your career, towards your life. But at the same time, take time. Take out time to have some fun with your friends. Go out, see the world. There's so many beautiful things to be seen. Don't get the purpose, or don't get the the ambitions and the aims eat you up. At the end of the day, you are a human being, and remember, you also have come into this world with a limited amount of time. So let's be happy. I mean, that's my message to the younger generations.
Very deep line, sir. So basically, we should just live in the present and should work for the things and should not overthink.
Yes, you live in the present. Look at the future. You see, the dreams. You should have my message to younger generations are that you must have dreams. You should have unlimited dreams. Those dreams, which will drive you crazy. Also, I believe. What do you say? There is a saying, I can't recall that. Have your feet in the ground and that dream in the sky, something like that. There was a saying. I mean,
we should keep our feet on ground and we should dream for the sky.
Yes, something like that. And be always ambitious, but be grounded, be humble, be good to others, and live your time. Take everything at a time. Don't complicate things. Don't mix up things. I see students mixing up the personal affairs, the professional affairs. They mix up so many things. Take one thing at a time. Try to resolve them, and be happy always.
Beautifully said, sir. Sir, your projects deeply connect AI with real human needs like pain management, heart health, and visual assistance. What inspired you to choose people first research?
This is interesting, actually. Over the last maybe 10 or 15 years, whatever research I have been doing has a nationalistic importance. See, the problem is, India is as a country is a diversified country, and the needs of India are different in comparison to the needs of United States or any European country. It's different. Sometimes the younger generations get super excited about the research that is done in United States or in some European countries, and they try to mimic them and try to do something in the similar lines. But my advice, and what personally I had been following, is do something which is directly relevant and have a socialistic relevance and a nationalistic importance. So my work, if you see, I worked, as you mentioned, like a cardiac monitoring system. If you see in our country, let's say in big cities like Delhi and Noida and maybe in Lucknow, you have proper cardiac surgeons and cardiac monitoring hospitals. But at the moment you go to a tier 2 or a tier 3 city, I don't think you have got cardiac machines and cardiac detection for diseases, etc. So the purpose here is, my objective is do something which is low cost, affordable, and serves to those people, those masses of the country who do not have access to the facilities. And hence, some of my work, like for example, a cardiac monitoring machine that comes for rupees 10,000 and less. We have developed a cervical cancer monitoring, cervical cancer detection system using an artificial intelligence model that is for free. I mean, if you understand, let's talk about a breast cancer diagnostics. So a breast cancer diagnostics will need a mammogram, a medical imaging, which is costly, which is a time-taking process. And importantly, the villagers and the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities do not have access to that. So my purpose is always, can technology touch those people who are deprived of the facilities which are available in the bigger cities? And that is the purpose. Whatever, I think 90% of my research is purpose driven for those people only who lives in the villages and tier 2 and tier 3 cities where technology exists. And that has been a purpose, and that is where I feel happy, I feel joyful. And even my PhD students and most of my master students and other students also, I encourage them to take a problem which has a direct relevance to our country. So that's how I summarize it. And it has always been now it has been a part of my life, and that's how I have navigated in my research journey.
Beautiful, sir. Sir, there is a line in one of my favorite movies, Mohabbatein, that कितनी भी हो नफरतें कहीं ना कहीं जिंदा रहती हैं मोहब्बतें जिंदा रहती हैं. So you are an example for that in the world where everyone is moving just for their purpose, and you are working for people. That's truly appreciable. So sir, how do you see AI improving emotion and mental well-being in the future?
Well, this is interesting. Now, mental health is a huge problem. If you ask me, whatever I know about mental health, like depression and anxiety, etc., what we see, let us take the case of India. What we see is the iceberg tip. What is seen, the tip of the iceberg, but beside, beyond the iceberg, below the iceberg, there's a massive amount of thing which is actually not visible. So that's how I look into mental health. Mental health is a huge problem, especially in the big cities, in the corporate sectors, in almost everywhere currently. The maintaining a balance with mental health and balancing your family life and professional life is severely challenging. What you asked is, how AI is going to help you. Now, AI has actually made a lot of interventions in mental health. Let me give you a couple of examples. Let's talk about the EEG signals. EEG signals are the brain-computer interface, the brain signals, low-frequency signals. They are a directly indicative parameter of your mental well-being. Let's say you are having depression symptoms. An interesting thing about mental health is that, many of us are having mental health problems and we are not aware about it. I mean, the symptoms are not obvious. Let's say we have anxiety, we have some depression problem, we are having some kind of, hallucination, we are having some delusions. But it is not obvious. I mean, it's not like a fever that you get a temperature high and you go to the doctor. So how you come out of it, how you deal with it, let me tell you. Number one, EEG that signals, which is your brain-computer interface, which is direct a discriminatory feature to see your mental health. And AI models have trained EEG based signals. There are small caps, 36 channel or 24 channel caps, and you put the cap on your brain, pick the signals, and those signals can be trained to understand the mental health of and early interventions and early signals can come up for this. Let's go even more. AI now has trained models looking at you. Let's say talk about a multimodal AI. Now let's say you go to a mental health specialist. The mental health specialist, he's going to diagnose you is like, maybe he'll give you a page to fill some questions. He'll look at your body movements, he'll look at your face gestures, he'll look at your hesitations, he'll look at your positive attitude, he'll look at so many things, and finally he makes a decision, right? Now AI, in the multimodal AI, the AI current times after 2022, now we are in a position where AI can integrate all these things, a vision model and a all these things that I mentioned, and take decisions accordingly. Like I believe, even wearable electronics. You wear something. You wear a watch, maybe a wearable electronics, and it's picking your pulse or it's picking some body signals, is connected to the server, and there will be a blip. It will tell you that you are having some anxiety issues or you are having some depression issues. So AI has a big time, AI will be a big time player in, intervening the mental health issues. Whatever examples I told you, these are just a few. The scope of opportunity of using AI in the mental health space is much, much, much bigger. And proper data collection and AI training models will definitely do wonderfully. But let me tell you, it's actually needed. In countries like Japan, United States, if you go, happiness is missing actually. Even, I don't know if you know, Japan has got a good suicide rate.
Yes, sir.
Even developed countries, they are feeling lonely. And so when this kind of AI tools comes up, there will be early interventions. And if there are early interventions, there will be good chances of, diagnostics and maybe whatever support needed. So I believe that AI has a big role to play in the mental health space.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
What a meaningful perspective, sir.
And many, if you Google browse and find for yourself, there are thousands of researchers in the last 2 to 3 years who are actually working AI applications in mental space. A lot of research papers are coming. That's a good thing.
So it's gonna be a long time player.
They will all come up, because currently, in Hindi we say akela and tanha. You understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
You're alone or you're lonely, right?
Yes,
You may not be alone, but you are lonely. In the metro, in the big cities, you're never alone. You're never alone.
Yes,
there's a Hindi song long back. There's a old Hindi song that शीशे की 100 टुकड़े करके हमने देखा. Have you heard this song?
Yes, sir.
You people are young guys. एक में भी तन्हा नहीं, 100 में भी अकेले है. That's he says.
Wow, sir.
शीशे की 100 टुकड़े करके हमने देखे हैं, एक में भी तन्हा नहीं, 100 में भी अकेले है. So even right now I'm surrounded by so many people, but actually the loneliness inside the people in these urban places and big cities is a huge problem. So that loneliness, the way to navigate, I'm sure these AI models with your body signals and the facial gestures, etc., will come in a big way to rescue into this kind of things.
Parents of today's generation have thought that the technology is the reason the children are being distanced from the world and they are being lonely. So do you think that the AI will do the same, or it's have something else or a positive impact on the new generation?
Well, I am not the right person to answer this question, but still what I understand is that we have seen the mobile thing. The mobile era has really, really impacted the young not only the young generation, even the whole generation. People are sticking to their mobile, which is they're getting cut off from the social actual get-togethers and the social the interactions. I'm not sure, because if AI comes into play and if the AI models gets deployed, it's hard to say. But yes, of course, because if AI starts giving you assistances which otherwise you get, for example, an empathy or a sympathy or maybe some kind of condolence which a human being gives to other human being, if the AI fellow starts doing that, maybe he will get more closer to technology. So it's hard to predict, but yes, chances are there, because technology is intervening our life in a big way. We have to wait and see. And of course, the younger generations are really, really getting addicted to technology, which is taking away from the actual social interactions. Our generations, if you ask our generation, we used to play our generation is coming from school at 2:30 and from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the field. We used to come home, study and sleep. That's it. But now I think morning, evening, everywhere you are getting into the more mobile phones and the social medias. Not sure it has, but of course there are some good signs. You're connected, you're updated, but there is a tool to it. Maybe I'm not the right person to tell you whether the tool is too much.
I guess your perspective will definitely help some of our friends who are listening to this podcast, because this is a very big issue and we have people but we don't have people. What is one common fear about AI you would like to replace with hope?
See, one of the common fear is like AI is going to take away my job. That is one of the common fears.
Yes.
To answer this question, let me tell you, AI is not going to take away your job, but most likely somebody who knows AI may take away your job. So from that context, why don't you learn AI? You look into AI, as a friend, as a support, as a horse, like who will carry you.
Like basically, it's a tool rather than a competitor.
See, it is like this. Let's say you can do a document summarization or a report writing with AI. See, for example, like this. Right now we're in sector 125. Now let's say I have to go to sector 128. Now the only way to go from sector 125 to 128 is by walking. Okay, you will go by walking, and you will have all reasons that walking is good, and if I do walking, I am healthy and everything, and you have support in that, and you're going to only walk. But there are other avenues. You can take a motorcycle, you can go faster, you can take a car, more people can travel. So if you look into that unless and until you come out of that thing that I will only walk, but AI is giving you those kind of options where you can explore more choices. And the point is, let's say you have decided that you will only walk from 10 kilometers from your office to your home. Now there's another fellow who will use a car to travel that 10 kilometers, which effectively means 2 hours you will be using around 1 hour or 2 hours every day to walk from your office to your home. And that fellow is going to take a car, he's going to save that 2 hours, and he's going to use those 2 hours in his personal life or professional life. So look into AI like that. Use AI to solve your tasks faster than the way you can do it manually. And there is no reason not to hope that AI will help you in a big way, to get your tasks solved faster, smoother, more accurate, and most likely you become a more efficient man using an AI tool. So that's how I look into it, and there's nothing wrong. I think if you start using AI, for all the tools that are available. Of course, do not cross the ethics and do not use AI for wrong reasons, because there's a flip side to it. But there are good chances, and let's be hopeful always. The world lives on hope.
Thank you for breaking that down so clearly, sir. It was a fear for most of the new generation and old generations. So moving further, sir, you mentioned compassion and peace as a guiding philosophy. What practices help you nurture your inner peace personally?
Inner peace is something that is within. I mean, sometimes, in a senior leadership position, many people come and they say that I'm unhappy, my peace is lost, I'm unrest. So I always tell them, is your inner peace so cheap that anybody can play with it, anybody can grab it, anybody can take it? That inner peace is something that comes within. I'm a firm believer of karma. I have read Bhagavad Gita, which is my most favorite book. I don't believe in God as such. But the verses that the God and the warrior had discussed in their Bhagavad Gita chapters, that comes as an infinite source of, motivation or solutions to my problems, and my inner peace is never disturbed. I'm always, steady, and my inner peace is good enough to, to keep position and navigate along the journey.
Your wisdom always brings clarity and calmness, sir. Sir, moving further, what brings you more happiness? Discovering a new algorithm or seeing your research help a real person?
Yeah, both for me. Algorithms are important. If you ask algorithm, it is the basic research, the basic maths. And if there is a real research coming out of an algorithm, for example, you do a mathematical model and then the mathematical model is getting translated into an LLM or a computer vision. For me, I think both are equally exciting, because they're rather, they're not contradicting with each other, they're complementing each other, if I understand well.
Okay, sir. So let's make this a bit interesting with a rapid fire.
Okay.
Sir, a discovery that made you smile recently.
This one. So the transformer model, 2019. the AI transformer model.
Okay, sir.
2019. It came through that Ajit Baswani and Nikki Parmar from the Google DeepMind. That was super interesting.
Okay. So, sir, heart or brain?
Yeah, heart.
Always the love.
Always.
So, sir, can you describe compassion in one line?
I mean, don't live for yourself. God has given you an adequate opportunity. Do for others also.
Sir, happiness in one line?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
So, God or science?
Science.
So, with that, our rapid fire round ends. Thank you, sir. It was really fun. Moving ahead with the next question. Sir, what something simple like a ride on your Yamaha or a few guitar strings that instantly lifts your mood?
That Yamaha RX100. So, I mean, your generation may not know. Yamaha RX100 is one of the finest bike. And for me, driving that bike is pure happiness. I really love to ride my Yamaha RX100. The sound itself is super crazy. I still have it.
Beautiful said, sir. It is one of the finest bikes, I think. So, sir, moving forward with another question. So, one author, contemporary or ancient, whom you understood only after many years and now value the most. What was the lesson and what hurdle did you cross to understand it?
Oh, you're asking about an author?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, that is Khalil Gibran. There's a Lebanese author. His name is Khalil Gibran, and it's so difficult to understand his stories. Of course, there's another author named Friedrich Nietzsche. He's a German author, but I'll put Khalil Gibran on the top. I love his stories. I love his paintings, and it's so hard to interpret. I mean, he writes 2-line stories, 3-line stories. I mean, you really need a lot of, understanding and depth to understand what he says. Khalil Gibran on top.
So, sir, any quality you personally like about that person?
Khalil Gibran is a simply genius. I mean, the way he writes sarcastically, he has put all the social things in 2-line, 3-line stories. I mean, if I tell you the stories, you will know like what kind of stories he says. And in everywhere, everywhere in my WhatsApp, in my Facebook, in my everywhere, you see my name, the name of my social media handles is Madman. I write Madman. Even my WhatsApp is Madman.
Okay.
And you know where from this Madman comes? It comes from Khalil Gibran.
So,
Khalil Gibran has a book written called as Madman.
Man.
He writes what is madness.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with that, that book, and I really love it. And he explains how he becomes a madman. And also I became a madman after reading his. I think it was super interesting. I recommend all my listeners to, sometimes if you get an opportunity, do read Madman of Khalil Gibran.
So, please guys, if you get time. So, moving further for the next question, I would like to invite our previous guest, Dr. Neetu, who will like to ask you a question.
Namaskar, sir.
Hanji, namaskar.
I'll keep my questions simple and short, but it relates to sustainability.
Okay.
If I say AI and generative AI are creating a lot of carbon footprints, I would like to have your opinion on this. Thank you.
Oh, what do you want to know? You already said it. The generative AI, the current times, if you understand, the carbon footprints are extremely, extremely high. Every time we write a command in ChatGPT, maybe whatever, small command, big command, maybe 20 liters, 30 liters of water are being used somewhere where the servers are deployed. So the amount of cooling required, the amount of computation required in the background of a generative AI like language models like GPT or DeepSeek or Llama 3, it's extremely, extremely high. So that way, if you look into the AI thing, let me, for the the benefit of the listeners, let me tell you, companies like OpenAI, the amount of computing, let's say a city like Ghaziabad or Noida, as big as that much, if you put all the labs of OpenAI in one place, it will be as big as, the city of Noida. So that much compute they are doing. Now, if you really understand, the cost of computing is so high, and the amount of heat generation and the amount of cooling requirements are extremely high. The carbon footprint is extreme. So my recommendation to all my young generation, young fellows, young colleagues are, do not use ChatGPT for fun. If you use or a Gemini for fun, sometimes you just write a command for fun. It's not fun. You're costing the environment. You're really, it's like this, one single prompt of GPT-4 in ChatGPT will cost you around 4 liters of water cooling the server somewhere, maybe in US or wherever it is. So that's a very important point you have made. There was a fire, some 1 year back, and they were not able to extinguish the fire. Many resources blame that it was, that GPT model, that supercomputing facilities that were created in that region where they had lack of water. So that's a massive thing. So generative AI is costing you huge in terms of carbon footprints. There's no doubt about it. We should keep ourselves restricted use of this AI models anyway.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your question and the time you have given for this podcast. With this, thank you so much, sir, for your time, your wisdom, and the warmth with which you have shared your journey. Every sentence today was not just knowledge, but a reminder that technology at its best is human. To every listener, remember what Professor Dutta stands for: skill with compassion, innovation with purpose, and science with humanity. We are grateful to the team Radio Amity, which has such a wonderful setup, inspiring and always encouraging students to start new shows like this. With this is Ayush Yadav signing off from Happy Pens of Amity on Radio Amity 1078 FM. Till then, keep learning, dreaming, and keep growing with happiness. Sir, if there any message for our listeners, so you can please tell it now.
So for me, it's simple. The message is keep living, keep happy, and that's it.
With this, thank you so much, guys, for listening to this podcast.
Right. Speak. Belong. This is Amity.